Yeah. Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. NWA Shockwave 3 this week. And yes, for those of you that are wondering, I do have my tag team partner back. Everything is bigger in Texas. We'll find out if that is true. Miss Fiona Lochran, welcome back.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
Did you miss me?
Of course, I missed you.
Sarcasm on another level today. How was Texas anyway, Fee?
Honestly, like this is my third trip
Mm,
over to the wonderful state of Texas. Probably my best trip yet out of
really?
all the ones I've been to. I crammed as much as I possibly could in. Basically, didn't stop. Got out of Dallas, went down to San Antonio, went to Austin, went to Oklahoma. Rode roller coasters, ate lots of chicken wings, saw all the big sports stadiums in Dallas, saw parks, saw friends unexpectedly in Frisco, and it was lovely. Yeah, I had such a good time. So,
Excellent. I saw some of the was it waffles that you were, is it waffles that you're having? I saw-
breakfast waffles.
Yeah.
So good. Texas waffles.
Yes, they look very good, and I did see a picture of you and Moose as well.
Yeah, I caught up with him. It was really nice. Like, he was at the Texoma Pro Show up in Oklahoma that I went to on Saturday. I've known Moose for quite a number of years now. Worked with him back with What Culture,
Yeah.
worked with him at TNA in the UK. So it was really, really cool to see him on his turf as opposed to over here. So that was a lot of fun. That was a good show.
Excellent. Glad you had a good trip, and yes, we missed you. We're glad that you're back on this channel
I'm
anyway.
glad to be here.
Yes, it is all good. Well, we're 3 weeks into Shockwave, and before we get into Shockwave, there was some news that come out yesterday, not NWA related, but I want to make it NWA related. We did message you last night saying that TNA a bit more restructuring, lots of names leaving. One of those is Gal Kim, and I was thinking to myself, I know there's Miss Jazz in NWA, but if I'm Billy. I'm phoning Gal Kim immediately to see if she's available to come and help out at NWA. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that's a good shout. I don't know the ins and outs of why she's no longer at TNA. I don't know whether she's left or her contract expired or whatever. I have no idea. Um, I have had the pleasure of working with Gail before in the UK. She is so knowledgeable,
Mm,
super knowledgeable, and an incredibly lovely human being. I think she'd be a great addition to both the locker room and the kind of production side of things.
yeah.
Um, be interesting to see where she goes next, but I would not be sorry if I saw her rock up at NWA, that's for sure.
No, me either. It did send shockwaves across the masses yesterday. That particular, I think the statement was restructuring the TNA.
Okay.
I don't know either if there was a reason behind it. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up because I was like, if I'm Billy, I'm on the phone to Gal Kim immediately. Let's talk Shockwave. Look, you've not been obviously been missing the last couple of shows, obviously being in Texas. Um, Aaron Stevens is, I don't know what's going on here. Obviously, they started Shockwave with he'd signed his new contract, and the part of that contract gives him a title shot. And then we saw, obviously, last week there were some games being played at the end of Power, which I totally forgot to mention at the end of the review. I even said, oh, I've got some more about Latimer coming up, and I totally forgot to mention it. At the end of Power last week, Latimer pulled up. He was showing something on the phone, and that was ending. This week, Power started with Aaron Stevens, Plunky, and I suppose some people from the training school behind him, and they were talking about success and championships and whatnot. What have you made of Aaron Stevens? And is it just him trying to get inside Latimer's head, or is there another ulterior motive here that he's looking at?
Really don't know, but he kind of came across as slightly unhinged last night and as though he's maybe losing it a little bit. And that was very apparent, the fact that Jeremiah's like, we got you, we understand you, like almost like calm down, mate.
Mm,
Um, I think I really don't know. I mean, I'd love to see him wrestle again,
mm,
right? I would, but I think he's playing mind games.
mm,
I
mm.
really do think he's playing mind games. And obviously you see at the end of the show, there's another video
Yeah.
segment as well at the end of the show, which I'm guessing is alluding to. to Aron, or I don't know if it would be someone else, but the fact that he's getting a title shot, I'm like, if he were to get the title shot and win that championship, then who knows what's going to happen. But I genuinely think that he's messing with people.
There's two
He's a
bits
good
about this.
psychologist, and
Mm.
he's messing with people's brains, and he's got folks second guessing what he's up to, and that can only be a good thing from his standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. There was two things I picked up. I'll talk about the last one later because it alludes to the video that aired, and I will mention it this week about the video that aired at the end. The other thing that I was thinking of, and now it's literally just left my brain, whatever I was about to say, funnily enough, has just that was it. One thing that I did pick up during this is that he fell short of saying blunt force trauma during the part when he was talking to about, he was doing the call your daddy, call your mama.
And
He
I know he literally went to start and then stopped himself.
is he then saying that he's finished with BFT? Is that done now, or is there more to come for that?
I don't know, like I can't see him. I think he's expanding his horizons. Let's just
Mm.
say it that way. He's expanding his horizons. He's obviously got Jeremiah Plunkett on side.
Yep.
Um, I don't think he's kicked BFT to the curb, but obviously they're not champions anymore.
No.
And he very much comes across as a gentleman who likes the gold. And I think that if you're not serving him a purpose, then maybe you're not important.
Because last week he was talking to Carson Drake, and if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure when the first video aired at the start of Shockwave that he said he was given a chance to give BFT a title shot. I think there was something along those lines, and he
I
ended up.
can't
I
remember.
can't remember. I'll have to go back through it, but we'll see. I mean, he's not the only person that's got a few issues in the camp. We're going to get to a lot of teams and family members that are kind of having a little bit of a interesting times, so we speak. But let's get into the action. And the first match was really two guys that are probably the future of the NWA, arguably Carson Drake and Alex Misery. 605 limit for the title. It went all the way to 605. There was an unlucky bit. I think Misery, mate, right at the end when he hit that big elbow off the
Couple
top.
more seconds, man. Couple
Yeah.
more seconds. It was so
If
close.
it was a 6:10 time limit, he may have been the new champion. Look, Carson Drake now moves to four of the lucky seven. Now he has been defending this across the territories. I think I know what's coming with this. But as I said at the start there, two guys that are going to shape the future of the NWA, and they put on a terrific match. I just wish it was longer than the
Longer.
605 limit
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I know where you've I mean, I quite like the 605 limit.
Mm.
It's like I do to a certain degree, but there are times that you wish it had gone on longer. And I think that if it had, Carson might not be standing here as champion right now.
No, but we can't beat him. Apparently, that's his saying, right? We can't beat Carson Drake. But I'm alluding to and for those of you that do know that he has already been announced. He is cashing in that lucky seven option, so we know that he wins another couple of matches, whether that's territories or not. Is it too early, do you think, in his career for Carson Drake to pick up the biggest, arguably the biggest win of his career over Latimer at the show that they taped at the week Hard Times? Sorry.
I would say, yeah, I would. Well, maybe not to cash it in, but I think there's people on that roster that I would like to see with that championship shot before him.
Mm. Well, one of
Basically.
those guys. Well, we'll actually get to that in a minute. 'Cause he doesn't feel the way that Power was going. Actually, we'll get into that. We'll see, but it does look as if that way. And Alex Misery, not defeat, didn't lose, didn't win, but didn't lose, and he's obviously got Lev and Gags now
Mm-hmm.
from him from last week. Ocasio wasn't there this week. He was attacked with the kendo six. Be interesting to see if they follow that up
Yeah.
in the coming weeks. Now, something well, I mentioned about family problems and family dramas that alludes me to the next part of Power, which was taken into the Paige household or the garden or the swimming pool area of the Paige. Kenzie and her boyfriend Hunter Drake were sitting there and There was a Kenzie was a bit stressed, you know. She's the women's tag champion. She's the holder of the Burke. You know, she's got all of this weight on her shoulders. Hunter was like, you know, you do have to worry about Markova. Obviously, not quite sure where that's come from. There's no title shot yet for Markova. She does have that opportunity, or did have the opportunity to win at hard times. There was issues with Kylie last week, or seemingly that they did shoot us down when we were talking about it
Kylie did. She was quick to shoot us down on X,
so
wasn't
was
she?
Hunter on Instagram as well. When I
Okay, I missed
posted
that
about it,
one.
yeah, he did come back. And Kenzie was basically saying like, when Hunter was saying we, she's like, "What do you mean we? This is the house that technically I bought. This is the
Yeah.
swimming pool that I bought." And then seemingly Hunter was like, "Well, I can beat Markova and I can beat you." And that obviously Tommy, Kenzie, they'd come along and were just like, "Shut up, Hunter," kind of thing. Uh, Problems in the Page camp is are we going too much into this? Is it just a little dip, or is there a longer term issue boiling under the surface here?
I don't know, because I watching last week's one, I was kind of like, "Ooh, something's going on," and we both mentioned it and whatever, and we've been shot down in flames with that one. I I hope we're reading too much into it.
Hmm.
I would like to think so, but you just never know, do you?
Nope.
Families are complicated, and families are even more complicated when there's gold involved. So,
Well, two bits of gold in this
yeah,
case, because Kenzie did mention that she only reason she took the shot was because Kylie was hurt, and Kylie would have done the same thing if it was.
yeah.
But I still can't get the look that Kylie gave Hunter last week out of my mind. When the opening of that gym or whatever they were opening at the start of Power last week, some something's not right there. I don't know. Something's just not quite sitting right with me with that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know whether
I
Hunter's.
guess we keep watching and find out
Yeah,
as
I
these
mean, it would.
little promos come on. And I know we've not had a chance to talk about it, but I'm quite enjoying this whole new cinematic sort of
Yes,
thing. It's given me. Did you watch Lucha Underground?
I did.
So it's given me Lucha Underground vibes,
Mm.
like not obviously, but just the fact that they're kind of like it's almost like a peek into you almost shouldn't be there watching it. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be there listening to the conversations. I actually really like the vibe it's given off, as opposed to the podium interviews or the backstage interviews. I quite like this almost fly on the wall side of things. I love what they're doing with this, so I'm really excited to see what else comes out of it.
It's
I
another
loved
sort
the
of.
ones the other week with
Yeah.
ThrillBilly and AT and
Yeah.
Pool and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I like the direction they're going with this.
It's another sort of tick in the sense of an improvement made. In terms we always mention it when we have the NWA guests on how Billy is, production tick, arenas tick, the action and everything else. And it seems as though now, like you mentioned, that they're going with this fly on the wall documentary style approach, which, as you say, you shouldn't be there, but you are kind of thing, which is I'm really enjoying it myself. I would have just go and finish off by him. I mean, Hunter wouldn't be the first Hunter to dip into family matters, would he? um, in a lot of ways. With
No
the
comment.
yeah, with just as long as he doesn't do Katie Vick over again, we won't. We don't want to see that on well, it's NWA though. To be fair, I mean that's probably quite modest and mild
Yeah.
from what we've seen already. But nevertheless, is there problems in the Page Drake camp? We will have to wait until next week when we see. I just wanted to make a point actually when we went while we was going before we move on. The Carson Drake. The commentary on this, they said that he had a world class cooking program on and had to put it
Whatever
on.
happened to that?
Well, they said Billy mentioned they had to put it on hold on the commentary, and he said something about the lettuce he was using was too expensive. And
I must have missed that.
go back and watch it; it's
I
brilliant.
will, I will. That's quite funny, actually.
It is outstanding. I mean, underrated shout out by the way, Garley, Deals, and Billy on commentary. Because when they're in it, like when they're on it together, it's great to listen to. Deals with his I don't know, wacky
Feels just
thoughts or
cracks me up,
yeah.
man.
And
Just
you kind of got like Joe that's trying to be like he's kind of like the Jim Ross of it all. Like he's the I suppose the voice of reason in the lots. He tries to sort of put you back into the action. You've got deals going on, wacky traits, talking about lots of different stuff, and then you got Billy. It's kind of in the middle of the
Billy's kind
three.
of in the middle, kind of trying to explain stuff to the
Yeah.
viewers, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Billy on commentary, though. Part of me just thinks that, part of me just likes Joe and Danny on their own. I feel like Billy's been on commentary so much lately.
Mm, he has been.
But yeah, it's Deals is always going to be entertaining, let's be fair.
Yeah, the dynamic is great. By the way, I really love the dynamic of those people on the comms. But anyway, Jax Dane Memorial Tournament continued this week. Now, I will need to get your opinion on this. Frank, by the way, Judas, what the hell has happened there?
I have absolutely no idea. I am going to completely throw my hands up and be honest with you. I can't really remember much about last week's episode. I just watched it and didn't scribble any notes down. So obviously I know he was there, like, but I'm going to have to plead the fifth on this one. I probably need to go and watch it again, to be honest.
It was just surprising that when it's because obviously it come up as a mystery thing when no one had ever heard of Frank, and then Frank pops out and it was Judas, and there was no kind
Yeah.
of explanation as to apart from the
That I
fact.
know that that's NWA for you.
Well, it is, yeah. Apart from the fact that he's kind of aligned himself with a new manager that I'm going to get to in a minute, whose name totally passes my head again. But he's part of
Yeah,
Austin Sports
it's a bit
Management.
of a strange one. So does that mean he's moved away from
Don't know.
the Sinister Minister and the oh man, my head, I'm still half asleep, I think. I've forgotten.
Still jet lagged. Still part of
Yeah.
the Miserably Faithful.
That's the ones. I couldn't remember. I'm
Um,
sorry.
But no, I don't think he is now. I think that he's kind of aligned himself, and again, forgive me with I can't remember the guy's name at ringside, who's part of Austin Idol's management
Oh,
team.
Brandon McCourt.
Thank you, Brandon McCaw. That's the
Yeah.
man. He's the manager. Now, Brandon McCaw, coincidentally, was at the side of Zyon this week against Burchill in another Jax Dane Memorial tournament matchup. Look, good hard hitting match. This. The
And
ending.
seeded really closely, the two of them
Yeah,
as well in the
they
tournament.
they were. I can't remember the seed for these two,
Zyon was five and Burchill was
4 or 6. Or
four.
yeah, thank you. Um, really good matchup between the two. One of Birchall's better matches, I think, since coming
Uh-huh.
in. Although Brandon gets himself in a bit of bother at the end because Zion seemingly has the match in his hands at this
He
point,
did. He was kind of like he was in full control at this point.
and then he tries to get him to use whatever that weapon was that he
I
had.
don't know. Like it looked like a steak almost, not a meat steak, obviously, like but like a wooden steak.
Oh, I just have visions of him hitting him with a bit of ribeye. Yeah,
But yeah, it was like I don't know, like a wooden sort of dagger stroke
yeah.
steak, sort of. I don't know.
To which, forgive me, the name is now gone on. Who was he facing again?
Burchill and
Thank
Zyon.
you, Burchill. I'm like, this jet lag must be coming over to me. To which didn't hit Burchill moved out of the way. He locked him into the, I know it's a crossface, but it was the
Zion's
Ripper.
distracted,
Yeah.
obviously, and Burchill's going to capitalize on that, particularly when the ref's involved and the ref sees what's going on.
Yeah,
Like, why would you not capitalize on that?
he did. He took advantage of it, put him in, I think it's called the Ripper, I think.
And got
Uh,
a nice wee tap out?
and he did. Zion doesn't lose many by pinfalls, does he?
Mm-mm.
He seems to be a tap out merchant because the lots of matches that he's lost is via tap out, and this one no different. He does lose a tap out. Burchill goes through and gets himself into the next round. I think that's the quarterfinals. I want to
Mhm.
say the next round of the tournament, which then alludes us to what you kind of mentioned it already. The next instalment of the Southern Six in a nightclub or a pub as we say here. This week, the whiteboard is out. It kind of really quite funny because it followed on from the match, and they had already knew the match result. It was kind of as if it was live from the from the
Yeah.
pub. It was like Burchill's just gone through, so they were scribbling out. And Kerry's Ricky was there, and it was AT. He was talking. Kerry cut him off. He was talking about the tournament. AT didn't seem interested, to be honest, in the tournament.
Oh, strange one. I
And
have I have my thoughts on that.
maybe because he's not in it, for one. But then Ricky was kind of like alluding to you can't overlook ThrillBilly. And I'm thinking, well, why would Kerry overlook ThrillBilly? They're part of the team, that he knows him inside out, which maybe that's the reason why, I don't know. ThrillBilly has got Colby next. And I
Mhm.
believe, if memory serves me right, Kerry's got Frank next
I think so, yeah.
in the tournament. Is trouble brewing there? And what's your thoughts on AT not looking interested in this?
I think trouble potentially is brewing. I think Kerry's egos maybe getting the better of him a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong, he's hitting the towns, he's making towns, he's showing up everywhere you can possibly imagine. He's fighting multiple times a week, which is great for him. It's great for NWA.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. It almost sounded like he expected Silas to potentially lay down for him, which we know is not going to happen. There is no way. Silas, he might be part of the Southern Six, but Silas is his own man and he's going to be in it for himself as far as I can imagine. In terms of AT sitting there quite quietly, I reckon he'll be the one that goes back to Silas and says, "This is what Kerry said."
Ooh. Mm.
Which I mean, I could be totally wrong. Maybe he won't snitch. I don't know, but I don't think he was disinterested. I think he was watching quietly with interest.
Oh, okay.
He could potentially be sitting there going, "Yep, implode you guys, and I will take advantage."
Oh, so AT maybe.
I think he's playing this very smart by not getting involved and not butting in on it. Sit back and observe, watch quietly, notice everything, and play it to your advantage. That's
Could
what I
be.
would do.
Could be. I mean, they're not even against each other yet, which is quite, which is kind of what Ricky was alluding to in this, and obviously it could also mean don't overlook Frank either. I'm assuming again, thinking that's who he's got next, and obviously Colby Carino's not one to be sniffed at either in terms of an opponent for ThrillBilly. So maybe they're getting ahead of themselves a little bit too much.
Maybe, but I think Ricky's just trying to keep Kerry in check to a certain degree, and I'm not sure that's actually possible.
I don't think it is. I think Kerry's gonna.
I think Kerry's ego maybe gets the better of him sometimes.
Certainly does, and I think it has on this occasion. But we'll see. They've got their next round coming up very, very soon, probably in a week or so's time on Power. But it was time for the Power. Oh no, yes, it was the Power main event, which brought the return of yes, my boys, the Immortals in the
Yay.
house.
Good to
Oderson
see Orenson back after his injury. So
and Kratos was there, obviously, as the Immortals against Daisy Kill and Talos.
with his little accordion, which I popped for,
So he's gone from what did he have before that? A
a
ukulele
ukulele,
to an organ or whatever it was.
an accordion, a small
Sorry, an
accordion,
accordion.
smooth
Sorry,
box.
an accordion. An organ's a big thing that you play in church, isn't it?
Yeah.
So look, this was it's one of your favorite type of matches. This wasn't it? It was a hard hitting meat fest.
It was, but I hate to say it, Daisy kind of took the brunt of the beating on this one.
He did. He certainly did. He was getting proverbial arse handed to him for the majority of this match. But the Immortals always, I never, every week, every time I see them, I don't know, they just have that, they do something, and I think, how are they doing it? Like in terms of their size and strength. And although I'm going to be slightly controversial, I want to see Oderson go for singles gold in NWA.
I think that's a distinct possibility at some point. I
Hmm.
would like to see him in a singles match. Yeah.
I would, but although coming up very, very soon on NWA is the Crockett Cup, and this is a good little, warm up or tune up for these tag teams in there.
I think that potentially the Immortals are in for a good run at the cup.
I want the Slime Balls to win it.
You do?
Mm.
Okay.
But obviously, at the Crockett Cup this year, Natalia's going to be there as well as part of
Hmm.
the Hearts, which is great for us. It's going to be great to see her match, whoever that is that we'll find out pretty soon who that match is. But in this week, the Immortals won through. As they pick up a big win going into the Crockett Cup, and yeah, I think the Immortals could be one of the favourites for the tournament this year.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see with the Crockett Cup coming up whether these guys get drawn against each other again.
Or assuming Southern Six will be defending the Crockett Cup this year. My assumption. It's an assumption at this point. I don't know that, but assuming they will be.
Yeah, no, I would imagine they'll be in the tournament, definitely.
And if we see any new teams that come on, there was with the Samoans, wasn't it last year with the Samoans in it? We had Devon's sons in it as well.
Yep.
Well,
I hope there's a good I hope there's a good selection of teams this year.
yeah,
I
like
don't know how they'll do it. Obviously, it's one night, so they'll
yeah.
have to do the rounds beforehand. So I'm trying to work out what shows they've got coming up between now
Mhm.
and it's May, isn't it? Between
May
now and
17th,
May.
yeah,
What they've got, which isn't a lot of time really, what they've got between now and May to do the preliminaries.
yeah, got to happen soon, surely, because as you say, we're
So I think we've got a TSW show coming up soon, so there might be some at that.
Mhm.
We've got NWA New Mexico, there might be some at that.
Yeah.
So I think the prelims will probably be at most of the territories.
Quite possibly, because I mean, we are entering April next week. So unless
Yeah,
they
so there's
start,
not a lot of time.
and we've not done Shockwave yet, and we've got another at least 2 weeks of that
Yeah,
before
man, I miss the two night Crockett Cups and I still miss the live
we know.
signature events.
It is shame.
Maybe this year will be the year that they go, do you know what? We're going to give you a pay-per-view. I really hope so.
We need one. We need one.
I genuinely do think we need one.
We do. No, we do definitely need a pay-per-view at some point this year, please. NWA. It would be great to have it back to normal, so to speak, in that sense. But that wasn't the end of Power, and we kind of alluded to it last week. Latimer had this thing where he got shown something on the phone. He wasn't happy. This week he's, I think, at an airport by the looks of things, or going on to a
A
plane.
very
I think
large empty car park.
a very large empty car park. He gets his bag out. He goes to walk. The slime balls are there. And they're
It
like
took me a
saying, "Oh,
minute to realize who they were.
yeah, cool." They were in the slime ball pit earlier on in the show, weren't they? With
They
when
were, yeah.
Carson was wrestling. And they're very much like, we've got someone that wants to give you some advice about, Aron and blah blah blah. And initially,
They're an
an
acquaintance,
acquaintance,
stroke, friend,
stroke
stroke. I
boss.
don't think they said boss, did they? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, they did say boss quite a bit during this segment. But anyway, they've got somebody that wants to give him some advice, I assume. And I'm assuming that's about Aron. Initially, Latimer was like, "Yeah, I'm interested," and he goes to walk away, and they high five and Cody said, "We done it." And he turned back and he went, "Actually,
I don't need your help.
don't need your help." And then that was the end. But I'm thinking now that this has got something to do with Carson Drake. Obviously, he was talking to Aron last week, but as I've already alluded to, Carson Drake's very close to the Lucky Seven. So
Hmm.
does there something like that that's in there with this, or is this all a big thing for Aaron Stevens to get into the head of Latimer to maybe keeps Latimer guessing who is coming for him rather than Aaron?
Well, is it alluding to the kind of spoiler that we got from the show at the weekend?
Hmm.
Is it
Maybe.
alluding to, and I don't want to say it because some of you might not
No,
know, but we know that someone rocked up in Dothan at the weekend to challenge for the
did.
belt.
To be fair, we can talk about that because NWA have plastered it all
All
over
over their social
their
media, yeah.
social media.
So
So
then Rhino obviously shows up at Dothan at the weekend
he does.
to challenge for the £10 of gold. So maybe it's got something to do with that because obviously we're so far behind on the TV and things like that. So I don't actually know.
Well, Rhino is going off. I believe he's Latimer's opponent at the Crockett Cup for the gold for the £10 because it's in Philly, if I'm memory
Hmm.
serves me right. So Rhino, I believe, is going after Latimer's gold in Philly, which is the home of ECW as well.
Which makes sense for him being there.
No, it does. Those of you that haven't, well, those of you that did see it will kind of see who was on the floor, as in on the deck at that point, which was the aforementioned slime balls were on the deck at that point. So yeah, lots of twists, turns, and mysteries right now on the NWA, which is great. We look forward to next week. Now, Fee, you've literally touched down, I believe, yesterday.
Like not even 24 hours ago yet.
You touched down yesterday. You did message me say you were home, which was great. You've slept, you've done this, and now you're going into 3 days worth of shows, I believe.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked. I have shows tonight, which is Wednesday, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So two with PBW. Tonight we're in Motherwell. Tomorrow night Pro Wrestling Scotland are in Airdrie. And then on Friday, PBW are back at Larbert at the Dobby Hall, which is one of our kind of signature shows of the year, one of our big town hall shows. So that's gonna be a good one. Don't ask me the cards. I haven't quite got round to looking to check that out. I know that there's going to be some tag matches and some various bits and pieces going on, particularly on Friday. Larbert's always a good show. So PBW and Pro Wrestling Scotland, ringsideworld.co.uk for ticks. If you're in the area up in Scotland, you'll have a lot of fun. I
And you'll
promise.
see a jet-lagged Fee.
I'll be fine by Friday.
Well, at least tonight and tomorrow. Oh, well,
Yeah.
obviously, by the time this goes out, you'll be home at shows.
Yeah, I'll pep myself up with something tonight to keep me going. Some more
Lots of
Monster or Red
monster.
Bull or
Yeah.
something.
Lots of monster indeed. So I can announce it because well, fingers crossed, I'm recording it tonight, so I should be okay to announce it. Our big WrestleMania guest this year is none other than Jonathan Coachman. He'll be being recorded tonight. Fingers and everything crossed. It was meant to be last night. He got taken unwell, but we have been told that he's okay. So hopefully that's going to be tonight. So I'll be talking to the coach himself about WrestleMania,
Fun.
working it. It should be a fun show. But we've got, well, busy couple of weeks coming up. Next week, we're going to be talking to Maria James, for OVW head coach, someone that Haley J knows very, very well and knows Haley, and someone that knows Haley J very, very well. So we're looking forward to that one. And then the following week, we've got two in one day, which is going to be, well, two in one evening. We're going to have, one of them's going to have to be quite quick. The other one's going to be okay. Sam Stackhouse will be joining us, which will be good for an NWA spotlight, as will the one we announced yesterday, which is the next up and coming star and of the territories as well. That will be Tyler Frank. So we've got quite a busy NWA bits coming up, which should be fun.
Good. That is good.
It is good as we head towards Crockett Cup. But Fee, next week it will be Shockwave Part 4. Nothing announced yet. We should get the card for that at the weekend or by latest Monday. But as you're back, shall we do this again next week?
I think we shall.
In that case, everybody, we'll be back next week. We hope you are too. Keep it locked. HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on all other social media networks. We'll be back then. And until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.